It's just me. I'm just sick and tired of the Americans exporting their wokest Marxist agenda into our country. First, we had the BLM lot, and we have all the others who keep trying to make British politics American. And not just American, Marxist American. And now, in schools, British schools, we are having this massive external sources who are coming in to promote certain agendas when it comes to gender and sex ed and all that nonsense. So, we've had, historically in this country, a consensus when it comes to education, and especially sex ed and things like that with kids, because there's a lot of benefits to it on a basic level, right? And even that, we've made mistakes in the past. Yet, now that we've kind of completely accelerated it, now we have these images. Now we have people going into schools, whether it's again the drag queens or all the other people who are completely sexualizing the classrooms, and again in the name of inclusion and equality and progressiveness and welcoming, all that nonsense, right? They are completely brainwashing a lot of kids. And that's what we've had. So many of the kids who, when they were younger, they were told, well, because you're camp, because you behave like this, you should just basically change your gender. And then they grew up, and now we have a massive wave in this country and in America, people who want to detransition. That's happening across the board anyway. But this is why a lot of British parents are now standing up against woke teachers. They are withdrawing their kids from schools, and they are promoting homeschooling. And this is quite interesting because homeschooling has always been a concept. There are benefits. There is also, there's pros and cons to both sides, because you kind of ideally want for early education kids to be exposed to the external environment, the outside world with other kids, and go out there and get experiences. But homeschooling has the benefits of you actually control the narrative of what's being taught, and you can actually focus on real education if you have a good parents, obviously, because if you're a reckless parent, then your kid is completely destroyed their future. But this whole thing started because in 2020, where we made some changes in this country, this article talked about how a lot of parents are choosing homeschooling, and kids are clearly, a lot of them are happy. But again, that's not a good thing. That's just a sad thing that our schools are going down so much that the better option is now homeschooling. Now, I know some people who did homeschooling, and they were raised perfectly, and some who didn't really get that experience, that real life experience that you get from by leaving the house. And that was a problem during the lockdown days as well, because kids wanted to go back to school. I mean, some kids, I guess. I didn't want to go back to school when I was a kid, but that was just me, I guess. But this fear of educational material being pushed by the extreme ideological side, and these are external people who come into schools to do this. Yesterday, or actually early this week, MPs in Parliament were discussing how materials are being flooded into schools by external providers who are exposing children to deeply inappropriate and widely inaccurate um, sex ed content. Now, some are still standing up against these values. So we have the Tory MP Miriam Kate, who came out to say that, well, in September 2020, when we made it compulsory for the relationships and sex education for all secondary schools, that was, we did all these things before in the past, and it worked, right? The issue here is that now, according to Miriam Case, is that the new RSC framework has opened the floodgates to a whole host of external providers who offer sex ed materials to schools. And this happens. Yeah. Is this really appropriate for kids? For parents? I mean, this is not really the place to do these things, schools. I mean, right now I'm making this video, Saturday, 2nd of July, and we have London Pride right now. Compare London Pride to what it was 20, 30 years ago, right? Even, especially the beginning of it, 50 years ago. There's a massive difference because of the way they are now promoting the ideology. Because there's one thing, talk about LGBT rights, gay rights, and everything else we've achieved in the West, and we should be proud of that. We are generally liberal and libertarian, right? We just want to, to do whatever you want to do. But if you want to then use that to push your agenda, because it's not really about this, it's about Marxism. It's about controlling your thoughts and your actions. This is the problem I have with this whole agenda. And we have to talk about this. And I'm going to see if this video is going to get demonetized on YouTube anyway or not, or removed. But we'll give it a try. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section. We're going to come back at 6 p.m. with a very important episode of Disrupt. We're going to give you the dodgy relationship between the European Union and Pfizer. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.